Okay.
It says live.
Jody, do you want to do notes again, or do you want me to do them?
It doesn't matter. What works better for you? Do you want to switch off every other time?
Right, sure, we can do that. Let me just, let me see. I'm going to put, I've got two screens going on here. Well, let me see.
I've started a timer so we know we go at least to the amount of time.
Here.
And we all need to introduce ourselves at the first of the broadcast, remember?
Good. You need to keep reminding us because I will not remember to do that.
So I'm Jody Cotton.
Rosla Olson.
And Brittany Pena.
Okay.
And when I was looking over and preparing my questions, I think you might want all of us to individually answer how has Babylon influenced the development of our threat. But that's up to you.
Where is that question at?
It's the first one. It's the second part of the first question.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But I can do the summary again if you want me to. It's up to you.
Okay, you go ahead. Go ahead, Jody.
Do you want me to? Do you want me
Sure.
to do it this time?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll get my act together and I'll do it next time.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Perfect. Okay, so the first question is, what threats to children and families did Elder Holland mention? And I went back and reviewed I could not find specific things that he mentioned other.
I can't hear you, Rosla.
I can't hear her either. I don't know if maybe it got cut off or...
Rosla? Brittany and I can't hear you.
Should we wait a minute? We'll see if it pops back up. I don't know.
Should we review the threats that we found and then we can summarize them to her?
Yeah, let's do that. So I kind of was the same way. I went back and I couldn't find exact threats. I mean, it did talk about, sorry, I'm looking through my notes. Oh. It did talk about things that happened, like it gave the three examples of, being like unkind people. I kind of almost put more like unrighteousness. And then, checking your religion at the door. What are some other, and then, I mean, he did mention, he talked about how pornography and different things that where was that? Do you remember when he said that? He's like, I could talk about pornography, addictions, and other things, but he's like, I decided to talk about these ones, and you can kind of make the adjustment from there. So those are kind of the threats that I found. Did you find specific threats, and maybe I just missed them?
At the end of his talk, he did say poverty, ignorance, transgression, unemployment, abuse, violence, and heartache.
Okay.
So I'll add those. Okay, I just got a text. So Rosla said that her computer restarted on its own, and she'll be back on in a few minutes.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, sorry, I was just reading back through. I wanted to see where I missed that, and I see that right there. How has Babylon influenced the development of the threats of children and family that you have chosen to address? So how do you feel like, where you found those specific ones, how do you feel like Babylon has influenced the development?
Oh, you know what? I read that wrong. I took that as the threat that I chose for.
For your paper.
But now that you just read it out loud, I'm not sure that that's how it was intended.
Hey, well, you know what? Share what you were going to share with the threat that you chose.
For me, I wrote, as the desire of Babylon has increased to destroy the family, pornography has grown more rampant and is now targeting young women who will be the mothers of our future generations. The rise of pornography destroys marriages, increases sexual violence. It changes the way men think about women and the way women think about themselves. One article I read said the average age for the first viewing of pornography today is 11 years old. Pornography devalues monogamy, marriage, and child rearing.
Wow. Yeah, with you sharing that, I haven't really had a personal experience with pornography, and I hope that I never really do. I'm sure there's people around me that do, but they haven't shared it with me. But just hearing how demeaning it is, how it tears families away, and like you said, the youngest is 11. I mean, you can just tell right there that Satan's using pornography, to completely destroy a family, no matter the age or the situation. And it's heartbreaking to see that and hear that.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of going along, so it says, one influence, the threat of, if I take the thing that I've chosen to talk about, which is how divorce affects children, I think that Babylon has influenced divorce and making people think that it's okay to like, if marriage gets hard, just to like push it to the side. And Babylon's just saying, it's influencing us individually by making us think like, oh, okay, our life's too hard, well, divorce is the answer, or different things like that. I'm trying to remember, I get confused on which reading, but it might have been with our discussion board, but I just thought it was, yeah, it was, because we were reading Alma 46. And I talked about how quickly people can forget the Lord and just fall away. And I just think, how true that is, how you think about all the people in the world, and they are children of God. Yet they are so, they've all, sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. They've all gone astray from God's plan. Majority of people, they're, compared to the world, there's not so many, there are a lot of members, but comparison to everyone in the world, there could be a lot more. And at one point, we were all following God's plan, and how quickly so many people just fell away from God's ways, and I think it's because of the influence of Babylon. That's kind of what I was getting from it when I was reading over these questions.
Okay, so I'm going to summarize back to you so that I know that I kind of have your thoughts.
Yep.
Babylon has influenced divorce by making people think it's okay to walk away and an easy solution. People are quick to forget the Lord. The majority of God's children have fallen away. We were all followers initially of his plan.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay. The next question, how does Eller Holland description of Babylon and Israel coincide with defending the doctrine of the family in these latter days? Do you want me to start with that one?
Yeah, if you want to, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So initially he was saying, when bad things would happen, we would escape Babylon and would build Zion and put up our protective walls, and would just repeat this over and over and over. But the Church of God is never going to flee again. So Zion is no longer where we're going to live, but how we're going to live.
I love that. I think, yeah, you think in the scriptures, and Brother, I think it's Rarick, I think that's how you say his name, how he was talking about how the scriptures were written for, like, us in this latter day. I love that, because, I've known that, but to hear it and to actually, like, really think about it. And he said, you know, the littlest of scripture, think about why was that written and why was that put in the scriptures. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of scriptures that I don't understand, but I should probably take the time to understand them because it was so important that it got put in the scriptures for us in this latter day. So I think about, you know, yeah, you see in the scriptures all, you know, this cycle that you talk about, but yet, yeah, when Elder Holland said, you know, there's nowhere to flee anymore, it's choosing how to live. I thought that was so important for us to make sure that we don't check our religion at the door, and that we're making sure that we're choosing to live a Zion lifestyle. And I kind of got the same thoughts from that question as you did.
Perfect.
It looks like Rosla's back on, so maybe she could share some things too.
Rosla, are you back on?
Oh my gosh, seriously? I can't. I'm here.
You're fine.
Sorry, my computer just restarted itself all of a sudden. Ugh. Sorry.
No worries. Do you want us to kind of summarize what we've gone through and you can add things?
Yes, please.
Okay. So our first, what threats to children and families did Elder Holland mention? Unkind people, unrighteousness, checking religion at the door, pornography, poverty, ignorance, transgression, unemployment, abuse, violence, and heartache.
Violence.
Do you have any additional ones?
What was the last thing you said?
A heartache.
Okay. No, I think that sounds good. The one other thing that I put was 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So we're half in Babylon, and I don't know if that's necessarily a threat, but it was something that I picked up on.
Perfect. I'll add that. Any more thoughts for that one?
Nope, I think you covered everything that I had written down.
So how has Babylon influenced the development of the threat to children and families that you chose to address? So for me, I had chosen pornography. So my answer was, as the desire of Babylon has increased to destroy the family, pornography has grown more rampant and is now targeting young women who will be the mothers of our future generations. The rise of pornography destroys marriages, increases sexual violence, it changes the way men think about women and the way women think about themselves. One article I read said the average age of the first viewing of pornography today is 11 years old. Pornography devalues monogamy, marriage, and child rearing. And then Brittany had chosen divorce, and she said Babylon has influenced divorce by making people think it's okay to walk away and it's an easy solution. People are quick to forget the Lord. The majority of God's children have fallen away. We were all followers initially of his plan.
Okay.
So I don't know what threat you have and what your answer is for that.
Well, I didn't do a great big old nice answer like you guys did, but my threat that I'm focusing on is the lack of respect that is in the world today, especially amongst children to parent and parent to child, and then how that is flowing over into society at large, and how, you know, a lot of what's happening, I think, can be tied back to the fact that we don't respect the institution of marriage anymore. We don't respect parents. We don't respect authority. And so, you know, I think we don't even respect what is right and wrong anymore. And so I think that Babylon has greatly influenced that because it's a trend. It's okay. It's what everybody does, so it must be right. And so I think all of those threats that we talked about somehow all tie back into where is our respect, and how do we get that back, and thus help alleviate some of these other things. You know, if you respected yourself more, you probably wouldn't get into drugs and that kind of thing as much. So I think the world in large does greatly influence the threat of lack of respect.
Roswell, I love what you had to say. I think, while you were talking, I thought about how important it is for us to remember that we're children of God and that everyone around us is children of God. And I think when you have that mindset, you respect yourself a little bit more and you respect others more, and you make that choice to not do bad things that Babylon's influencing us to do. So I really liked what you had to share about that.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm trying to summarize a little.
That's okay. I just was going to make a little comment. Part of the reason that I chose this threat, well, I feel very strongly about it, but I have a son he's a great kid, but he's very rough and very stern, just like my dad was. My dad was he was just very stern. I mean, he was a marshmallow, but he was a stern marshmallow. And I have a son who's like that with his children. He's very strict with them and very, sometimes I think, you're going to destroy that little guy. He's got one son who's very sensitive, and he's just a great little kid. But I've watched him over the years, and I thought, Jeffrey, you are going to destroy his little sense of personality if you don't quit being so hard on him. And then as I've been studying about this threat and everything, I realized that Jeffrey is doing exactly what all the research says you have to do, that you're not there to be your child's friend. You're there to teach your child and to help him. Now, yes, I think he should not be so stern, but I think he's doing everything right. So I've gained a new appreciation for him and his parenting style as I've studied that thread a little bit. So anyway, that was just kind of a little side note there.
No, that's a very, very valid threat that seems to be very rampant in our society right now. All right, I'm going to read back a little summary of what you said, and then you can make any corrections if you want, okay?
Okay.
The lack of respect amongst children to parents and parents to children. Is another threat. This has flowed out to society, and there is no or little respect for authority. Babylon has influenced this as it is I'm seeing my tendency and the attitude that everyone is doing it, so it's okay. When you don't respect yourself, you are more likely to sin. The world has influenced this lack of respect of society has for each other and themselves. As we remember we're children of God, it will help us respect ourselves. Is that kind of?
Yeah, yep. No, that sounds great.
All right, the next question we did was, how does Elder Holland's description of Babylon and Israel coincide with defending the doctrine of the family in these latter days? And then we said, originally we had to escape Babylon and build Zion's protective walls, and we repeated this over and over again until our day, and the Church of God will never again flee. Elder Holland said Zion is no longer where we're going to live, but how we're going to live. The Book of Mormon was written for our day and times. We need to think why they chose to write what they did for our day. We cannot afford to check our religion at the door.
Okay. A couple things I would add to that. He said that we don't flee. We can't flee, but we have to attack. So don't flee, but attack. And then I had just written down the quote by Brigham Young where he said, we've been kicked out of the frying pan into the fire, out of the fire into the middle of the floor, and here we are, and here we'll stay. So, there's no place to go anymore. We've been kicked out. So here we are, and we have to attack, not flee.
quote. I can see if I can find it really quick.
You want me to read it? You want me to tell you again?
Yeah.
We have been kicked out of the frying pan into the fire, out of the fire into the middle of the floor, and here we are, and here we will stay.
Kicked out of the fire into the middle of the what?
Out of the fire into the middle of the floor.
Floor?
Floor.
F-L-O-O-R?
F-L-O-O-R. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And here we are, and here we will stay.
Got it.
And that was the only other thing that I had that you didn't mention.
Okay, perfect.
It looks like, I think, if I'm saying your name right, I think Maiken just joined us.
Are you there, Micah?
Yeah,
Do you have a camera?
I do. Just give me 1 second. 4, 6. Sorry I'm so late. Okay.
Okay. So while she's working on her camera, should we continue on with the next one? What characteristics and attributes of did Elder Holland expand on that will make us or you more effective family advocates?
Did you guys get to this question when I was gone?
Nope.
Oh, good. Hi, Maiken.
You know? Sorry.
Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I was trying to figure out the time change. I'm actually living in Santiago, Chile, so it's a little different.
Oh, my goodness. What are you doing down there?
I just moved here. I'm thinking about working at the MTC, but I'm really just studying. I served my mission here.
Okay.
Very
Anyway,
nice.
sorry to interrupt. Yeah, we can go ahead and keep going.
Okay, who wants to start with this question?
So we're on the characteristics and attributes.
Yeah. Or I can if I need to.
I put down to be a source of light in protecting our communities. And then I took out, he said something about we need to be the leaven in the bread, the salt that doesn't lose its savor, the light of the world. So I put down the words leaven, salt, and light. We have to do right and talk right. Reach out generously with our words and our deeds and show compassion and love, but with that we have to not, we have to keep with our standards and not give up the line. You know, we can't cross that line, but we still have to have compassion and love. And then I wrote down that, I love that quote that he quoted by George MacDonald that said, we are not bound to say all that we believe, but we are bound not to even look like what we do not believe. I had to read that a couple of times to get that. But I think that that's really important in being a family advocate, is that we can look like what we don't believe. We don't have to say it all, but we can't. So avoid the appearance of evil, basically, is what I think is the scripture that goes with. And that's all I put down.
I got similar as Rosla, but I wanted to focus on, I kind of focused on one, and it was, I loved how he talked about, in the lesson 3, he says, in addition to protecting our families, we must be a source of light in protecting our communities. And I loved that because, I think a lot of times we are told, protect your families, but we also need to protect our communities. And I love how he went on to talk about that, and he even said, the simple fact of the matter is we will never have enough policemen to enforce moral behavior, even if it was enforceable. And I think that, that's a characteristic that I focused on because I've never thought of it, and I think that's something as a family advocate that I need to focus on is standing up and not just protecting my family, but protecting my community.
That's a great point, yeah.
Are you guys referring to the question about the different attributes to advocate a family?
Yes.
Okay. I was just making sure.
Oh. Okay. I'm going to put you guys on mute for a second if somebody else can type. My husband's in Lithuania and he's trying to call. So.
Okay.
Hello? Hi. We are almost done with our thing. Can I call you back in just a minute? Okay, or give me 5 to 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes and call me back, like shower or brush your teeth or whatever. Okay, all right, love you. Bye. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back to typing.
Okay, so Mike, and what do you think about? Do you have any thoughts on that question?
Well, on the you part, because on that question it also specified like the you attributes or characteristics that you would like to have. And on that part, I talked about a lot about how I'd like to be able to see people with Christ-like eyes and really be able to have passion for the worth of their soul in order to be able to help them. I feel like that was a big deal for me, and how Christ, they mentioned in the talk how Christ was able to still love everyone when they were mocking him and killing him on the cross. He still had that love for them, and I think that's really important to be able to be an advocate of the family.
That's awesome. That is so important.
But that was basically what I put for the you part, and then before that, I just talked about how he talked about a lot about not judging others, but only judge when you're in a situation that's needed to be judged, and that we don't know the situation of a lot of individuals. We just have to love them and understand that we don't know their upbringing and their way of thinking. So we just have to love them and explain how we see the world and things like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of the talk as well, Megan.
That's all I have, though, for that part.
Okay, and I put, I kind of summarized his 3 main points, and I said never check your religion at the door, and that also means don't be a silent observer. The next one, show compassion but be loyal to the commandments, and then I did his quote, it's easy to be righteous when things are calm and life is good and everything's going smoothly. The test is when there is a real trial or temptation, when there is pressure or fatigue, anger or fear, or the possibility of real transgression, can we be faithful then? Therefore, how we respond to any situation has to make things better, not worse. We need to defend our standards in the way the Savior would defend them and judge with righteous judgments.
Oh, great.
Do you guys want me to summarize what was said earlier, or should we just keep going?
We can just keep going, I think.
Okay, because we're kind of running a little bit long. According to what you have learned from Elder Holland's talk, what obligation, if any, do you have in the scenario like the one on the video? Anyone?
That was a really hard one for me because I'm one of those people that would probably not have said anything because I just don't get involved in stuff like that. but I guess really I should, and I guess from Elder Holland's talk, I do have an obligation to do that, but I'm still really pondering that question, so I don't have a great answer for that one yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would have said anything either, except in the case of the first one where he spoke directly to them. The other ones, he wasn't speaking directly to them.
I'm in the same boat. I don't know. I mean, I know I have an obligation, but I'm not one like Reza. I'm not one to like get in and say something. I probably would just listen. I don't know, but I think it kind of goes back to what Maiken was talking about earlier when she was talking about judging, and we need to kind of, I think in different situations, like you said in the first one, he did kind of speak to the people, so therefore, they could say something, and maybe I would have said something if they would ask me, where the other ones, they just kind of hopped in. But I think either way, we have an obligation as being a family advocate.
That's pretty much what I put as well. I feel like because I served a mission, I'd probably go into missionary mode because that's usually what happens. And I'd probably, like you said, I'd probably just try to understand that they're going through a hard time, and I would try to give them my love and support. And I really liked how that first individual in that first scenario that they talked about the 12-step program. And I think I would have actually mentioned that, like, give them some options, like this isn't a done deal. There is, you can change this if you want to. And I really like that.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, so for the answer for that one, try to understand and share love and support, sharing the 12-step program and our beliefs, but with love.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how to answer that. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
If you were a customer at this restaurant and observed this father-son exchange, what principles or attributes did Elder Holland teach that should guide your response?
I put down 3 things that when he said the church could never dumb down its doctrine. So I think that, well, for me, I'll just speak for myself, that I have to remember that I just have to speak the doctrine as it is, that I can't dumb it down to try and shield anyone's feelings. I mean, because I'm the type of person that wants people to be happy, and so I tend to kind of sugarcoat things instead of just saying it like it is. But I like how he said that we can't dumb down the doctrine, that some issues and laws have eternal consequences, not just the social or the political, but eternal. And we have to try to be our best in a desire to help him or her be their best. So, but the thing that was most important to me was when Elder Holland said that we can't dumb down the doctrine. It is what it is. Truth is truth. And we have a responsibility to advocate for the truth, whether it hurts anyone's feelings or not. That's the way it is, as far as the doctrine is concerned.
I love what you said. That's so true. I've never thought about it like that. But mine was actually pretty similar because I put the attributes of love, courage, and faith. So like you were saying, you have to have courage to actually talk about what is right of the true doctrine, and then you have to have love towards that person, understanding how Christ loves them, and then you would have to have faith that Christ and our Heavenly Father are going to be there with you, helping you throughout the way with the Holy Ghost. So I agree with everything you said.
And I kind of said the same thing. I kind of focused, I didn't necessarily write down, never dumb down the doctrine, but it kind of was going along with that, how you can't worry about other people's feelings in the sense of trying to make them feel good with, like dumbing down the doctrine. It kind of, goes back to that. And I think that's so important that that by doing that, we are better helping other individuals, because I think sometimes when we do dumb down the doctrine and we try and make people feel better, it's not really doing our best to help them be their best. So, kind of what I got.
And I put very similar, and that we can't forget our religion, and that we have to show compassion, but stay loyal to the commandments. Do same time next week, because the last 2 minutes are supposed to be the summary, right?
I think she put on our discussion board that we don't meet next week. Is that what you guys?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But
Perfect.
the following week, does 9 o'clock work for you, Maiken?
Yeah, that's fine. I totally can do 9 o'clock.
Okay, perfect. And I will do the video again and post that link if that works for everyone.
That works for me because I really don't know how to host them at all.
Yeah, that works great. I appreciate that, Brittany.
Okay, perfect. So I think week 4 then I will 9 o'clock and post that link.
Okay, sounds great. I'm going to start the summary right now then, and if I miss something, pipe in and get it in, okay?
Okay.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Okay, so our summary. Oh, and Mike, and you probably need to say your first and last name because we did that at the beginning.
All right.
Your name's on there.
Besides my first and last name?
Yeah.
Okay. My name's Maiken Harper.
Okay, perfect. So we're supposed to, so we already did ours. Okay, our summary. What threats to the children and families did Elder Holden mention? He mentioned unkind people, unrighteousness, checking our religion at the door, pornography, poverty, ignorance, transgression, unemployment, abuse, violence, heartache, putting one foot in and one foot out, halfway in Babylon. How has Babylon influenced the development of the threat to children and family that you chose to address? As the desire of Babylon has increased to destroy the family, pornography has grown more rampant and is now targeting young women who will be mothers of our future generations. The rise of pornography destroys marriages, increases sexual violence. It changes the way men think about women and the way women think about themselves. One article I read said the average age of the first viewing of pornography today is 11 years old. Pornography devalues monogamy, marriage, and child rearing. Babylon has also influenced divorce by making people think it's okay to walk away and an easy solution. People are quick to forget the Lord. The majority of God's children have fallen away. We were all followers initially of his plan. Another threat is the lack of respect. The lack of respect amongst children to parents and parents to children is another threat. This has flowed out to society, and there is no or little respect for authority. Babylon has influenced this, as it is the tendency and the attitude that everyone is doing it, so it's okay. When you don't respect yourself, you're more likely to sin. The world has influenced this lack of respect for society has for each other and themselves. As we remember we're children of God, it will help us to respect ourselves. How does Elder Holland's description of Babylon and Israel coincide with defending the doctrine of the family in these latter days? Originally, we had to escape Babylon and build Zion's protective walls, and we had to repeat this over and over until our day. The Church of God will never again flee. Zion is no longer where we are going to live, but how we are going to live. We cannot flee. We have to attack. The statement from Brigham Young was, we have been kicked out of the frying pan and into the fire, out of the fire into the middle of the floor, and here we are, and here we will stay. There's nowhere else for us to go, so we have to attack. We need to remember the Book of Mormon was written for our day and times. We need to think why they chose to write what they did for our day, and we cannot afford to check religion at the door. What characteristics and attributes did Elder Holland expand on that will make us or you more effective family advocates? The source of light in protecting, we're the source of light in protecting our community, leaven in the bread, salt of the world. We must do right and talk right, reach out generously with actions and deeds while keeping our standards. George MacDonald stated, we are not bound to say all that we believe, but we are bound not even to look like we do not believe. We need to protect our families and our communities. We will never have enough policemen to stand up for what is right. We need to see people with Christ-like eyes and love everyone and share that love. We also can't be a silent observer. We need to show compassion but be loyal to the commandments. It is easy, a quote from his talk was, "It was easy to be righteous when things are calm and life is good and everything is going smoothly, but the test is when there is real trial or temptation, when there is pressure and fatigue, anger and fear, or the possibility of real transgression. Can we be faithful then? Therefore, how we respond to any situation has to make things better, not worse." So we need to defend our standards as the Savior would defend them. We need to make righteous judgments. We don't always know everyone's situation, so we just need to love. According to what you have learned from Elder Holland's talks, what obligation, if any, do you have for the scenario like the one in the video that we watched? We need to try to understand and share love and support, sharing the 12-step program and our beliefs, but with love. If you were a customer at this restaurant and observed the Father-Son exchange, what principles or attributes did Elder Holland teach that should guide your response? And that was that the church can never dumb down its doctrine. We must remember that the gospel is the Lord's. We can't sugarcoat things. Some issues have eternal consequences. We need to try our best to help others be their best, and we need to share the truth. We need to have love, courage, and faith. Courage to share his message, love to love as Christ would love us, and faith that the Holy Ghost will guide us as we speak and share the truth. And that's our summary.
Sounds great.
All right.
You do a good
Thank you,
job.
Jody.
No problem. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right.